From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. It is Friday, October 17th.
We made it, so let's celebrate by opening up the windows and letting a beautiful new day in. Come with us. Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff with fresh controversy this morning as his Dreamforce conference closes in San Francisco. The new report from the New York Times claiming Salesforce offered its AI services to help ICE.
They offer really important work here at OAK, keeping the traveling public safe, and we're glad that the food bank was able to contribute in this way.
The government shutdown weighing heavy on hundreds of Bay Area airport families working without a paycheck. How bridge builders in Alameda County step forward to help.
This is our last chance to preserve democracy.
The fight to get voters to approve California Governor Gavin Newsom's hope to redraw congressional lines heats up. By the way, who's paying for Prop 50?
We were excited, like, oh my God, Taylor's wearing our shirt.
And the Monterey Aquarium getting lots of love from the showgirl herself. Look at this vintage t-shirt worn by global superstar Taylor Swift, inspiring others to raise big money for sea otters.
And we're looking at a beautiful morning out there, but it's chilly, so I want to make sure that you all bundle up and are prepared for what's ahead of us, because there is going to be a little bit of fog out there. Temperatures right now, again, are chilly. They're sitting in the upper 40s, if not low 50s. It's what we've been waking up to the past several mornings, but what we're also waking up to this morning is some thicker fog. What you see here is our visibility, and the highest number that you can get is 10, which is what we see down in our South Bay communities. But up north, there is quite a lot of fog out there. I kind of want to close it in, show you our North Bay communities where the thickest and the densest of the fog is, because it's filling in our valley communities. From Healdsburg to Santa Rosa, visibility is down to less than a quarter of a mile. If you take even farther south, places like Sausalito even are seeing slightly lowered visibility because of that fog. Mill Valley as well. All things to keep our eyes on as we step out of this dense fog advisory, those areas in gray, in effect through 10 a.m. I'll break down the details on how long the foggy conditions will stick around for and when even warmer weather is on the way coming up in my full forecast. Back to you, Reed.
All right, thank you, Zoe, and welcome. Nice to have you with us this morning. This year's Dreamforce conference in San Francisco could go down as one of Salesforce's most controversial ever. Developing this morning, Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff dealing with a New York Times report claiming his company is offering to help ICE. A 5-page memo from late August reportedly lays out how Salesforce can help meet its goal to, quote, nearly triple its workforce by hiring tens of thousands of new officers and agents expeditiously, close quote. The assertion here, Salesforce is reported to be seeking a paid contract with ICE. Now, that headline follows another headline in the Times where Benioff is said to support the idea of the Trump administration sending the National Guard and their troops into San Francisco. Now, as we've reported, Benioff walked back some of those comments while hosting thousands of people from across the globe at his Salesforce event in San Francisco. But there still is fallout to talk about here. Also new this morning, one of Benioff's board members and longtime allies quit. So let's talk about that. That board member, Ron Conway, is a major Democratic donor, venture capitalist, and philanthropist. In emails obtained by the Chronicle, Conway tells Benioff, quote, "It saddens me immensely to say that with your recent comments and failure to understand their impact, I now barely recognize the person I have so long admired." A Salesforce spokesperson thanked Conway for his contributions to the Salesforce Foundation over the last decade, but did not address the comments or that stepping down. Now, Dreamforce brings in entertainers for its guests, and there's been huge fallout there as well. At least 2 headliners in the Dreamforce comedy show finale have reportedly pulled out after Benioff's controversial remarks. Comedian Kamal Nanjiani from the show Silicon Valley and Ilana Glazer, the co-creator of Broad City, both say they're not attending the conference this year. They cite, quote, unforeseen circumstances. So we've reached out to Salesforce and the comedians' representatives for more details. So far, haven't heard back.
Right now, we're going to take a live look at Capitol Hill as the government shutdown now stretches to its 17th day with no end or a compromise in sight. The Senate adjourned for the week after failing the 10th time here to advance a spending bill which would end the shutdown. The upper chamber also failed to advance a bill to fund the Pentagon and pay U.S. service members during this shutdown. And some federal workers are just starting to feel this impact. They recently received
their very last paychecks for the time they put in before the shutdown. And most of them, they won't be paid again until lawmakers reach a deal to fund the government. Well, among them are hundreds of workers at the Oakland airport. Right now, we're going to take a live look here where many of them, they keep showing up to work, doing this job without getting paid. But as our Brad Hamilton shows us, bridge builders are stepping in here to help government workers caught in the middle of all of this shutdown.
Make sure that we got all the things that we need, and things like this are really practice for future things that are coming.
Reggie Young has made a life focused on the needs of others.
The cool thing that I would say is that the Bay Area tends to step up.
This particular day, that meant coming to the Oakland airport for a makeshift food drive held in the close quarters of a TSA break room. TSA workers are among the federal employees caught in the middle of a government shutdown. Some were on hand to help with the food deliveries, but we were told the TSA agents weren't available to talk.
We'll do it as long as it's needed.
The executive director of the Alameda County Food Bank makes no bones about their limited resources and the growing need in this area.
Hey, it does look like beans.
We're seeing an increase in the number of people that are coming to them with food security needs. And so this is month over month.
It was time to deliver some relief to employees that are clocking in and clocking out without a payday.
It has a monetary value that supplements other costs that people are experiencing, right? Folks still have to pay their rent, folks still have to put gas in their car, and this is a help in support of that.
Kaylee Scantz with the Oakland Airport estimates that nearly 300 employees are working for free right now. This includes TSA agents, Border Patrol, and air traffic controllers.
They offer really important work here at OAK, keeping the traveling public safe, and we're glad that the food bank was able to contribute in this way.
Reggie says this is what they do, and it's why they do it. Back in 2018, during another shutdown, the Alameda County Food Bank supported more than 1,000 federal employees with deliveries just like this one.
There's always something in our environment that we have to adapt to, whether that's an earthquake, a fire, or a government shutdown.
The hope is that something changes in D.C. sooner rather than later.
It stretches our team, it stretches our network, and so forth. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that over the course of the next couple of years.
Until then, Reggie and his team do what they do best, meet the need wherever and whenever they can.
We believe food is a basic human right, and we think everybody should have access to the nourishment that they need.
There are almost 250,000 federal workers in the state of California who should all get payback once the government reopens. But at this point, there is still no sign of any deal over on Capitol Hill.
Protests against the Trump administration will happen across the country and here in the Bay Area over the weekend. We're talking about the No Kings protest. They are planned for many parts of many of your communities. You know, as we saw in June's No King demonstrations, turnout expected to be in the tens of thousands across the nation. In San Francisco, protesters plan to gather near Embarcadero Plaza and then march down Market Street over to the Civic Center. Other protests are also planned, we understand, at Ocean Beach, in Alameda, Vallejo, Walnut Creek, and Mill Valley. CBS News Bay Area will bring you live coverage of this community expression of things happening in our country. These No Kings protests will be covered starting at 2 p.m. tomorrow on your community station. You can watch kpix.com and streaming on the free CBS News app.
We are now going to take you around the Bay for your morning headlines. We're going to start on the peninsula over in Daly City. Police here, they're trying to gather leads surrounding a recent stabbing at the BART station. The transit agency just released these photos. Take a look. Here, you'll see a woman here. Hopefully you recognize her and someone will come forward. She's wearing a red shirt with the number 88 and a 49ers hat. BART did not say exactly how she could be connected to the stabbing. It all happened a month ago on September 17th at about 3 p.m. One man was hospitalized in this attack. Now to San Francisco, a year after a family of 4 is killed, safety upgrades now at the West Portal station completed. Planters were added to act as barriers, and polka dot street murals mark pedestrian zones for people outside of the station. This is in the area of West Portal Avenue and Ulloa Street. Back in March of 2024, the driver of a Mercedes SUV slammed into a bus stop near the Muni station. That's where two parents and their two young children were waiting. The driver, 79-year-old Maria Fong Lau, faces felony vehicular manslaughter charges. She has pleaded not guilty. Now let's go across the bay into Alameda County for you now. Today in Oakland, Mayor Barbara Lee is convincing a regional summit to develop new strategies to reduce gun violence across the entire Bay Area. Health professionals, researchers, and city leaders from Antioch to Stockton, they're coming together today to share data, experiences, and to develop new strategies. The summit will include presentations on Oakland's groundbreaking gun tracing efforts and also sessions on community-led intervention programs. We're going to stay in Oakland here. Families in the Rock Ridge neighborhood, they're banding together now to find the vandals responsible for throwing rocks at their windows of their homes and their cars. Neighbors say damage is extensive for them and repairs are expensive, with some boarding up their windows now. And some homes, they've been hit several times. Neighbors are sharing the information like this security video, hoping it will help police catch the suspect.
Well, I'm constantly anxious in any sound I hear. Now it's like, all right, what was that? It's definitely shaking up our peace of mind a little bit.
No one has reported getting hurt so far. We also reached out to Oakland police for information on the investigation, and we're waiting for a response.
Time right now, 6:11. Good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Well, we're watching a high-stakes meeting planned between President Donald Trump and Ukraine's President Zelensky at the White House. The big question, did a call between Trump and Russia's President Putin yesterday grease the wheels for peace, or is Putin, as Zelensky alleges, playing the president once again?
And today marks 36 years since the Loma Prieta earthquake struck the Bay Area. Are we ready? We take a look at how San Francisco is preparing for the possible next big one.
And we're looking at relatively warmer weather sticking around through the weekend. Get out and enjoy yourself before another big cool down and the chance for rain heads our way. I'll break down all the details that you need to know coming up.
First Alert Weather, brought to you by AAA Insurance. Get a quote today.
We are watching your top stories from around the country and also from around the world, and that comes to us by these monitors that are sending us live feeds from all across the globe, including this brand new video from Greenbelt, Maryland, where former Trump National Security Advisor turned Trump detractor John Bolton has just arrived at a federal courthouse in Maryland, surrendering to authorities. He is the third outspoken critic of President Donald Trump to face criminal charges in the past month. This time, Bolton faces an 18-count indictment on charges that he transmitted national defense information and retained it. Prosecutors accuse him of storing classified records at home and sharing that information. The indictment also suggests Iranian operatives hacked Bolton's email account, accessing classified information. Today, President Donald Trump meets with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Mr. Trump's phone call yesterday with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Trump's announcement of a pending summit with Putin in Hungary getting a lot of headlines. So Mr. Zelensky is expected to talk about that with the president. He's also expected to ask President Trump for special long-range missiles in its fight against Russia. Moving down to Southern California now, where Governor Gavin Newsom had to deal with how to handle a federal live amphibious assault demonstration over near Camp Pendleton down in San Diego County. This freeway here figures into this story pretty big. Newsom had said he considered shutting down the freeway amid reports that Navy ships might fire live ordnances over the road during tomorrow's celebration of the Marine Corps' 250th anniversary. This morning, we are learning Interstate 5 will stay open after Newsom got assurances from the feds that all exercises will take place on approved ranges in accordance with established safety protocols. Now, earlier, Newsom called the plan an absurd show of force. Let's move on the map now to the great state of Alaska, and they are hurting this morning. That's following a massive typhoon. Because of what happened there, there's a huge rescue effort playing out. We can tell you at least one person is known to be dead. At least 2 people are missing in these rising waters. So enter the helpers, right? Helicopters and military planes airlifted hundreds from the western part of the state. You can see It's a mess there. They're having to use school buses to move people out. We're talking about response to a 6-foot storm surge. In many cases, it washed homes out to sea. The next challenge will be setting up temporary shelters for nearly 1,500 people made homeless by the storm.
Today marks 36 years since the devastating Loma Prieta earthquake. The magnitude 6.9 quake was centered in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It killed 63 people, injuring more than 3,700 others, and caused billions of dollars in damage. And the moment it hit, it was caught on live television. Some of us remember just before Game 3 of the World Series between the Giants and the A's at Candlestick Park.
Second base, so the Oakland A's take.
I'll tell you what, we're having an earthquake.
Yep, we're having an earthquake, they say. The quake causing a 50-foot span of the Bay Bridge to collapse, crushing cars and killing one woman. Thankfully, rush hour traffic a lot lighter that day when the shaking started because people were at home watching the Giants and the A's play. And just yesterday, we had a small shaker on the Hayward fault line right before the Great California Shakeout earthquake drill. A reminder to be ready. And 36 years after the Loma Prieta earthquake, there's a new push now to enhance building safety if we ever face another big earthquake in the Bay Area again. In December, the city is going to start focusing on San Francisco's concrete buildings that were built before the year 2000. Homeowners are going to be asked to take part in a seismic safety screening program. The city is estimating here that thousands of buildings could be at risk for damage in an earthquake of this magnitude, and they want a clearer picture of the actual number. Homeowners will have until June of 2027 to submit information to the Department of Building Inspection. And a note, while quakes are top of mind here, homeowners, landlords, and property owners have until today to apply for a grant toward retrofitting your property that are considered vulnerable to quake damage. You could get up to $3,000 in grant dollars to help you out.
Taking a live look this morning from Black Mountain. It's a Friday. We made it to Friday, and it's going to be a good day, right? Here's Zoe with your weather.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day, Reed, just because you said that, because Mother Nature is starting off our day with a beautiful sunrise. The colors, or at least some of us are seeing some colors. If you look behind me, we are still waiting on them here in downtown San Francisco. It is dark out there. The Bay Bridge is shining brightly, though, and you can see a lot of it because there's barely any fog, at least in San Francisco. It's kind of hard to see where the densest of the fog is, at least across the Bay Area. Taking a look at our satellite and radar, it looks pretty clear, but there's actually dense fog advisories in effect across our North Bay communities in the valleys. And you can also see across the Central Valley of California, dense fog likely going to stick around through at least around 10 a.m. So keep that in mind for any outdoor plans, likely from Santa Rosa all the way down through Sausalito and Mill Valley. That's going to be sticking around again through 10 a.m. as we continue to see quite a lot of fog and cloud coverage throughout the early morning hours. By the afternoon, though, we'll be seeing clearing skies, a few passing clouds out there, but that's not going to stop our high temperatures from warming up back to a few degrees above what we felt yesterday. Those highs inland sitting in the upper 70s to a few low 80s sprinkled in there. It's actually really interesting. If we zoom in on places like Concord and Sacramento, look at how much warmer Concord is than Sacramento. 81 degrees this afternoon in Concord versus 73 degrees in Sacramento. That doesn't happen too often, that we're looking at warmer temperatures across our inland East Bay communities versus the Central Valley of California. And the reason is because we're looking at offshore winds that are going to develop this afternoon. We're going to continue to see quite a lot of warmth sticking around into this upcoming weekend. Those highs tomorrow afternoon going to be even warmer than today. Those highs sitting in the 80s across our inland communities. Enjoy it while you can, though, because look at Sunday, especially along our coastal communities. Stronger onshore winds are going to develop and cool down those temperatures all across the Bay Area. Again, that's not going to be until Sunday. So moral of the story is I hope everybody can get out and enjoy themselves today and into tomorrow while those temperatures are still warm, because we started off this week on a very chilly and a very wet note. So I'm sure everybody is excited to soak up some sunshine, and it comes at the perfect time, just in time for the weekend when a lot of us have outdoor plans. Even though it is going to be a few degrees cooler on Sunday, it's not going to be cold by any means, and it's going to stay at or below average, at least for the next 7 days, with little to no chances for rain. Back to you.
All right, short-lived, but we'll enjoy it. Thanks, Zoe. And happy Friday. Let's go ahead and get you out the door and onto those freeways, starting off at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. Those metering lights, they're on now, and it's starting to build up. So pack your patience this morning on this Friday over at the San Mateo Bridge. Traffic is moving along nicely here, a few red lights, but the good news, no major delays. And at the Golden Gate Bridge, things here, a different story. It should be a breeze as you head into the city on this Friday.
Time right now, 6:22. Good morning, everybody. The red and gold back in action this weekend at Levi Stadium. We're going to take a look at how one receiver helps the team despite all the injuries on the roster. Welcome back, everybody. So the 49ers are back in action this Sunday, taking on the Atlanta Falcons over at Levi Stadium.
Unfortunately, the team battling injuries all season, but at least the quarterback room seems to be getting healthier here. Matt Lively has more in this morning's Red and Gold Report.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers quarterback room is trending in the right direction health-wise. Mac Jones practiced without restrictions on Thursday, while Brock Purdy was once again limited, but it's an encouraging sign to see both quarterbacks take the field for the second day in a row. Whoever's under center on Sunday might have to go without receiver Ricky Pearsall for another week. Pearsall missed practice again Thursday as he heals from a knee injury. Kendrick Bourne's done his part in Pearsall's absence, putting in back-to-back games with 142 receiving yards in each. But it's his maturity that's impressing Kyle Shanahan the most.
He's unbelievable now. I think he's like one of the more adults in the building, which I don't think I would have ever said that 6 years ago. He's a grown-up. Speaks like he went to Ivy League now. Love having him in the building. Always have.
Just keep growing, while we're in this position right now, and it's showing. So all the little things, they add up.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
Okay, Matt, you got to see this. I love this. Injuries for your 49ers hurt. So how about expressing that hurt at Halloween? Well, that's what this fan in Alameda did. You got to see this. Casey DeShong turned his front yard into an injury tent featuring a long line of skeletons dressed as injured 49ers. Look at that. You see the crutches, the wheelchairs. They're a hot mess there, including Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, all of them in line to get some triage.
Speedy recoveries to all of them. Right now, your time is 6:27 on this Friday morning. Proposition 50 giving voters the chance to reshape the power balance in California. But who's funding the campaign? We take a deep dive here into the state's priciest ballot measure.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Welcome back, everyone. Nice view of our Bay Area. This is from our Salesforce camera looking across the bay on this Friday morning. And what are we looking like as we head into the weekend? Zoe will have the answer.
Oh yeah, well, happy Friday, everybody. We have made it to the weekend first and foremost. Let's give ourselves a round of applause because it's been a chilly and a very rainy start to the week, but now this weekend, Mother Nature has timed it out perfectly. It's quiet, it is clear out there, little to nothing to talk about when it comes to waking up early this morning other than the chill and a little bit of fog. Right now, temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s, but what I do want to take a closer look at is our North Bay communities where there is some dense fog that's filling in the valleys, which is why we actually currently have dense fog advisories in effect, as we are noticing those visibilities getting well below that threshold for dangerous levels. They're getting down to less than a quarter of a mile in places like Santa Rosa, Healdsburg, and over to Guerneville. We are going to be seeing this fog mostly dissipating after about 10 a.m. and there will be a lot of sunshine and warm weather this afternoon. I'll let you know how warm it's going to get into this weekend coming up in my full forecast. Back to you, Reed.
All right, thank you, my friend. Taking a walk across the Bay Area for headlines where you live in the East Bay. Heads up if you have an appointment at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital over in Oakland. Registered nurses rallying this afternoon demanding UC rescind layoff notices sent out earlier this month. So the nurses say that leadership promised no layoffs when the hospital was fully incorporated into the UC system during the summer. They also say services centralized in San Francisco means patient delays in Oakland. We've reached out to UCSF for comment and are now waiting to hear back. Moving south to San Jose, police say a garbage truck struck and killed a man. Apparently, that man was laying in a driveway covered in blankets. It happened early yesterday morning along Bascom Avenue east of Los Gatos Creek. Police tell us the driver is cooperating with the investigation. Also in Alameda County, a man accused of shooting at cars on an Oakland highway will face a judge today. Police arrested Carlos Ray Thomas in Walnut Creek moments after the gunfire last Thursday. Police say Thomas crashed into the center divide on I-680 and then tried to run. At least 2 cars were hit in that shooting spree, but nobody got hurt. Thomas faces charges of attempted murder this morning and charges of shooting from a vehicle. All right, moving up into the North Bay, Sonoma County, Santa Rosa police begin a crackdown on massage businesses. That's going to happen this weekend amidst concerns about illicit operations and potential human trafficking. So starting Sunday, businesses put on alert. They could be cited if they've not registered with the city. We reached out and tried to see how many are registered. The city spokeswoman says less than half of some 130 massage businesses have applied to register so far. These new rules also ban sexually suggestive advertising as well as late night hours, window coverings that block waiting areas, and neon signs, all considered to be indications of possible illegal activity.
We're now less than 3 weeks out from the California special election that could reshape the balance of power in Congress. On November 4th, Californians will vote on Proposition 50, which would give the state legislature the power to redraw House districts. You should have already received your ballot in the mail, but that's probably not the only thing that you've received in relation to Prop 50. We're talking about flyers in the mail, fundraising, text messages, and commercials that are running all day long on TV. It's already one of the most expensive races in the state's history. But the question is, who's funding these campaigns? We asked our Lauren Toms to follow the money.
It's a statewide ballot measure that's not only triggering a special election, but Prop 50 is drawing eye-popping sums of money. And for San Francisco voter Renee Block, it's not about the dollars behind it, but the mission he says it represents.
No House, no Senate, no White House, no courts. This is our last chance.
Every weekend, he's hitting the pavement from the Mission to the Sunset, trying to cut through the flood of advertising and political noise.
And people are confused, and if they stay home or if they don't vote for the proposition, we can lose this opportunity.
As his t-shirt states, Block plans to vote yes on Prop 50, the proposal to temporarily redraw California's congressional map to add 5 Democratic-leaning seats in the House and boost Democrats' chances to flip control of Congress. But behind the grassroots effort is a tidal wave of cash. State campaign finance reports show spending at nearly $215 million, $134 million for and $78 million against, passing spending records for the rideshare Proposition 22 in 2020 and the 2022 gambling fights, Props 26 and 27, which shattered records at over $450 million combined.
And California ballot measure elections are basically the most expensive elections in the United States, not called a presidential election.
Sonoma State political expert David McEwen says the final price tag, including the cost of the special election and legal challenges to come, could top $500 million.
This is going to be maybe not the most expensive ballot measure in California history, but it'll at least be number 2 and has the potential to be number 1. Why that's important is this is a setup for the 2026 midterms.
Most of the yes side cash is flowing from national Democratic groups, including the House Majority PAC and labor unions, viewing Prop 50 as a test run for the 2026 midterms. The no side is largely backed by the Republican-leaning Congressional Leadership Fund and conservative donors like Charles Munger Jr., but notably missing so far is any money from the Trump political committees.
Proposition 50 threatens what voters built.
Even without such funding, Republicans in the state like Congressman Kevin Kiley argue the new map takes away their representation.
I think it'll only lead to less bipartisanship, less common ground, and even greater division in this country.
And for all the millions spent on airwaves and mailboxes, volunteers like Renee are investing what he says money can't buy.
People that contribute to understand that this is our last chance to preserve democracy.
Well, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Contra Costa County just got some huge help. Nearly $20 million in state funding that'll build permanent housing for our neighbors who need some of that. Our Suji Nam spent the day with a family in Lafayette. Their son lives with autism. They shared how this new community could change his life.
That one.
For the past 17 years,
I'm showing you the garbage.
Chris Treat has been taking out his neighbors' garbage bins.
They've been gone since September 22nd. I knew their black and blue can would be empty.
You'll find him diligently taking out the trash once a week.
I like helping people.
Chris is 31 years old. He was diagnosed with autism when he was nearly 3 years old.
And what if Dad and I told you that's called?
All back on memory.
His mother, Nancy, says he has a rare gift, knowing the days and dates of something even random that happened in his life.
April 16, 2022.
When his brother played baseball.
It's a Saturday.
Chris lives with his parents.
There you go. We do this once a week to help keep his scalp clear.
Nancy and her husband Steve have been desperately searching for a community that supports those with developmental disabilities.
We've looked at private options and they are unaffordable.
With no luck, it's forced them to look for out-of-state options.
He needs to be in an environment where he is safe. That is the most important word to me.
But now there is hope. Sunflower Hill, a nonprofit organization, announced they received nearly $20 million in state funding to build permanent supportive housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Lafayette. Founder Susan Houghton says the goal is to build 48 units, but still needs more funding before construction begins.
Hope for the future that your loved one can live independently, but also not unlike senior living in a very supportive activities-based location, where if they want to go down and take a cooking class, they can. If they want to do yoga, it's there. If they want to garden, there's that opportunity.
Opportunity for Chris to grow.
Part of the question is why don't we just keep him at home? It works so well here. That'll work as long as it works, but we're not going to live forever, which is why we need to find him a place.
While Chris will need to join the lottery system for Sunflower Hill housing, they are optimistic.
He's going to get to the other end of the tunnel. There's going to be a light.
And Chris, too, is excited.
My family, my friends, my program.
Holding on to the hope for a comfortable and safe future.
Oh, Chris, we know you're going to do just great. Right now, your time is 6:40 on this Friday morning. It's fall, but some local students already looking for some cool solutions for next summer. We head to Menlo Park to check out how they're protecting their community from extreme heat in our Project Earth story.
He was made for loving you, baby. This morning we're remembering rock legend Ace Frehley, the original guitarist for Kiss. Frehley co-founded the band in 1973, became famous for his spaceman persona. We pay tribute to him, and he scared the crap out of me, but I sure loved their music as a kid. Here's a live look outside before we head to break. Zoe will have your forecast coming up in just a few minutes as we rock and roll all night and party all day this Friday.
Time now for a look at your top stories from across the country and the world. All of these monitors behind me right now, live feeds from across the globe as we're tracking in real time the stories that impact you the most. The Florida man accused of setting the deadly Palisades fire will be heading back to California now. A grand jury has indicted 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderneck on new charges, including arson affecting property, among other charges. He's waiting extradition and is expected to appear in Los Angeles court in the next coming weeks. Here in California, patients with diabetes may soon see some relief with much lower prices for their insulin. Governor Newsom says California will start selling a generic drug for as little as $11 per pen. It's all part of a partnership to sell state-branded prescriptions at lower cost for people. The state agency involved, CalRx, says 1 in 4 people with diabetes cannot afford their insulin. The state-branded insulin will roll out in the month of January and is interchangeable with more expensive versions. He was known as the Spaceman. Ace Frehley, the original lead guitarist and founding member of Kiss, has died. The rock band rose to fame storming stages in platform boots, wigs, and signature black and white face paint. A little scary for some of us, but they left their mark. Their theatrical show defined an era featuring fireworks and smoking guitars. Frehley's agent says that the glam rocker died peacefully, surrounded by family following a recent fall. He was 74 years old.
Time for a look at what's coming up later on CBS Mornings. Nate Burleson joins us live from New York. Okay, so Nate, we just aired a story about one of our viewers who turned the 49ers injuries into a Halloween display. He actually dressed up skeletons wearing some of their outfits and their names, marching into a tent to get some triage. So we need your good energy as we play this weekend. Okay, my friend?
All right, I'm sending all the good juju, all my good football vibes, praying to God and the football gods that the 49ers are good this weekend. Reed, it's so good to see you. Good to hear from you. Here's what's coming up on CBS Mornings. Halloween is just around the corner, but all costumes and candy, they're not cheap, right? Kelly O'Grady will be here to let us know if the struggling economy will give us more tricks than treats. Plus, Neil deGrasse Tyson will be in studio. He's always fun and great to listen to. He has his new book and it answers people's questions about space, time, and why things happen on Earth. And it's always good to end the week with a little bit of kindness, right? Steve Hartman and his kids introduced us to a pair of dogs that will send your cute meter off the charts. Check this out. They give us a lesson in mindfulness. We'll also have everything you need to know and, of course, more on the show. So we'll see you at 7.
All right, Nate, thank you so much. Have a great morning.
That dog hilarious, jumping into the leaves. In this morning's Project Earth, extreme heat can be deadly, and where you live can also make a difference. As our Juliet Goodrich is about to show us, Bay Area students and community groups have now come together with a cool idea to map out heat and provide some relief.
In the Bay Area, the first storm of the season, a cold, heavy rain that dropped snow in the Sierra. But at this gathering in Menlo Park, the talk is all about heat, extreme heat.
When it comes to climate change, we're prepared. We're ready to provide the resources.
Around the table, residents from the Bellhaven neighborhood as well as local students. On the table, heat kits.
We have a really crucial period right now to prepare.
Stanford student Julia Zeitlin, the focus to protect vulnerable communities next summer.
We know what future summers are going to look like. We know there are going to be, unfortunately, worse, more extreme heat events.
Extreme heat-related deaths are on the rise, especially in some urban settings. The first step, identify the heat islands, the neighborhoods that are at highest risk for significant heat,
so that we can direct localized cooling solutions in the areas that need them most.
Last year, the Palo Alto Student Climate Coalition, made up of volunteers from different high schools, set out to find out. Volunteers attached special sensors to their cars. On a hot day, they drove around 3 cities: Palo Alto, East Palo Alto, and Menlo Park.
They would go out 3 times a day, so at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. And these sensors would basically capture temperature, humidity, and also location.
That is extremely hot.
Some results: Bellhaven has pockets of hot spots. City Council member Cecilia Taylor.
Their project was amazing, and it was also necessary because there are so many challenges here.
Another finding: East Palo Alto stays hot overnight. Mayor Martha Berrigan.
We were saying, oh my gosh, our summers have been so different.
They have fewer trees and parks, as well as more heat-absorbing concrete and asphalt.
We have about 7% tree canopy.
Throughout the day, we can feel it.
The Student Climate Coalition has created a new coalition called Cool Cities.
Water bottles, Pedialites, flashlights, an electric fan.
A pilot program is distributing 100 climate resiliency kits to those at risk.
This is a matter that I really do care about because of the implications for our future.
Helping assemble the kits, Mayor Berrigan's mother. She says they'll make a difference.
Because the senior's gonna feel that somebody cared for them.
We're finally at the point where we have this data, we know what we can do.
Building community and keeping it cool, one kit at a time.
Nice. Taking a live look outside on this Friday morning. Good morning, everybody. If you are still in town, wrapping up your visit to San Francisco with Salesforce and Dreamforce, thank you so much for being a part of our community. You come on back now. You hear, Zoe?
Yeah, come on back. We've seen some gorgeous weather, although if you were here Monday and Tuesday, you might say, hey, is it always this rainy in October? No, it's not. That was very abnormal for the month of October. Some of the top highest rain totals that we have ever seen. But right now, we're not looking at any rain, and we're not expecting any sort of rain over the next several days. Let's look at the ground, show you the radar right now, because there's really not all too much to talk about. Excuse me, this is a satellite. There's a little bit of fog building in. That's really the biggest issue early this morning. That fog will quickly lift. A few passing clouds throughout the afternoon hours, but overall today, it is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Those high temperatures are going to be a few degrees warmer than yesterday. Inland communities are going to be in the low 80s. Areas by the bay are going to be in the 70s, and closer to our coastal communities, still sitting in the 60s. By the time that we step out tomorrow, though, you'll notice those temperatures getting warmer, those colors in deeper and darker red settling in, especially across those inland areas where those highs are going to be widespread in the mid to lower 80s. Even for areas by the bay, a few low 80s sprinkled in there. And our coastal communities in the low 70s, like Half Moon Bay and up to Point Reyes. It's going to be a gorgeous beach day on Saturday. Please enjoy Saturday while you can, though, especially along the coast, because by Sunday, look at those temperatures. They get a little bit more yellowy. That signifies those cooler conditions, and that's going to be onshore winds that will develop along with a little bit more cloud coverage. So slightly cooler on Sunday, but overall not a big cool down on the way. And we are going to continue to see quite a lot of active weather as we step out over the next week or so. 6 to 7 days from now, we should be quiet and clear, but we are going to continue to see quite a lot of activity that will be heading our way by the time that we step out next weekend. So again, this weekend, enjoy yourself. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be clear. It's going to be a little bit cooler by the time that we step out Sunday, as there's going to be a very weak frontal boundary. Let's do a big picture pattern, kind of show you a little bit farther out what we're looking at. Because again, next week, it's going to be quiet and clear. Look at the timestamp, the bottom right corner of the screen. All next week, there might be a few clouds out there, but overall, you don't see any rain over the Bay Area. Look at by Friday, though, of next week and into Saturday and Sunday. There's this huge atmospheric river that will be arriving. We'll be keeping our eyes on October 24th to the 27th for our next big wave of widespread rainfall. Again, that won't be until next weekend. So moral of the story is I hope you can get out this weekend when it's going to be really nice out there. Those high temperatures sitting at or above average through tomorrow, gradually cooling down into Sunday, but overall, little to nothing to worry about as you step out this weekend for the weather. Back to you, Veronica.
Let's enjoy it. Get out there. Thanks, Zoe. Okay, this morning we have an accident to report on the 880 that is northbound just before exit 38 at High Street. Expect some delays here and be sure to be slow out there. Heading over to the Altamont Pass for super commuters, we're seeing a bit of a backup here in this area. Speeds down now to 16 miles an hour, but not as low as usual. Still slow enough to cause some delays. And over at the Bay Bridge, it's the same story here. Bumper to bumper traffic right now. Those metering lights are on. Now looking at public transit, no delay here. Well, maybe one here delay on the San Francisco BART line, that is. So make sure you plan ahead this morning, and that's a look at your morning commute for you. Right now, the time is 6:53 on this Friday. The power of Swifties here, proving they're truly unstoppable. They sure are. How they're giving love and money to a very special aquarium over in Monterey Bay.
All right, last day of the week in trading, and Wall Street, watching your money right now, is in positive territory. We're going to continue watching that throughout the morning for you. Well, Salesforce faces a lawsuit over how it develops its artificial intelligence software. So here's what happened. Two novelists say the San Francisco-based company has used thousands of books without permission for that very purpose. They say that in the process, Salesforce has infringed copyrights as it trains its X-Gen AI models to process language. The plaintiffs also say copyright owners should be fairly compensated when this happens. They are proposing to turn their complaint, by the way, into a class action. Listen up, a warning to 75 million Social Security recipients from the SSA. They're saying don't fall for a fake U.S. Supreme Court letter falsely claiming that recipients are under investigation for tax fraud. Apparently, those fake letters went out to many people asking for personal information and money. The end result, just don't fall for it. Well, back in August, Taylor Swift went on her now fiance's podcast to announce her new album. That was a splash heard around the world, right? But she also mentioned her love for otters and how she would like to save one.
I like this story. Thanks to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, she can. As Juliet Goodrich reports for us, the move has Swifties putting vintage T-shirts on their wish list now.
Swifties ought to be proud of themselves after Taylor Swift was seen wearing a vintage Monterey Bay Aquarium otter t-shirt in a movie promoting her latest album. Her fans took note, and the vintage shirt is swimming in sales. Liz McDonald is with Monterey Bay Aquarium.
When you caught wind of this, what did you think?
We were excited, like, oh my God, Taylor's wearing our shirt. But we were also like, okay, this is a shirt from 1993, so we don't have digital files that we can just like pull up right away to reissue it. So it became kind of an all hands on deck teamwork moment for us to try to figure out how we could bring the shirt back.
Since the aquarium launched the fundraiser selling shirts online for $65.13, it's like they hit the lottery.
The last I checked, we had just topped about $1 million. There was a cheer that went up around here when we hit that mark. Our goal is 1.3 because we know that 13 is a very special number to Taylor Swift and her audience.
The Monterey Bay Aquarium says overnight, its sea otter conservation work launched into the spotlight. It's bringing a new era of support and awareness to the aquarium's long history of ocean conservation.
Just check the website. They've raised more than $1 million. In fact, $1.9 million. And apparently the money keeps coming in.
And you got to love the aquarium no matter how many times you go. It's beautiful. Okay, coming up, get ready for a new season of hit TV show Caught in the Act. How the show is helping suspicious lovers catch their cheating partners.
Uh-oh. Taking a live look outside. We hope you continue the community conversation with us on a Friday. Pix Plus 44, cable channel 12.